Imagine this. You're in the last stretch of a long, exhausting journey. You've made it through setbacks, triumphs, and sacrifices. Now, every move matters. One wrong step, and it all risks falling apart. And just as you're catching your breath, someone steps in your way. A friend, a partner, a sibling, maybe someone even closer. Let's be honest. At this point in your life, the last thing you need is the burden of someone else's problems. You're not here to rescue everyone. You're not here to trade your peace for guilt, expectations, or emotional manipulation. This is your life, not theirs. And yet people keep asking for what they shouldn't. They want your time, your strength, your attention, all of it. And the price? Your inner peace. Have you ever felt like everyone leans on you, but no one ever holds you up? This video is about what others don't dare say out loud. The first truth. No one should ask you to carry what was never your responsibility. How many times have you said yes, knowing deep down it wasn't your place? And you only realized the weight of it once it was too late. It starts small, a favor, an emergency. Then suddenly, you're the one holding everything up, alone. What starts as kindness turns into expectation. And the longer it goes on, the harder it is to let go. Like a worn-out rope that's pulled too tight, you break. You weren't made to be a permanent support system for people who won't stand on their own. Because this isn't just about time or money, it's about your peace, your emotional safety, your life. When people dump their problems on you and expect you to carry them, that's not love. That's exploitation. And you, out of loyalty or love, take it on. Because you don't want to seem selfish. But let me be clear, doing that isn't helpful. It's harmful. To you. You've already given so much. You've worked hard, sacrificed, supported others more than anyone knows. So why keep holding on to what was never yours? You're not a bank, not a babysitter, not a nurse. And yet, you're treated like one, without being asked how you feel. And the moment you say no, suddenly you're the problem. You're cold, uncaring, selfish. But where's their guilt for putting you in that position? Truth is, some people see you as a resource, not a human. And that hurts, because you give, and give, and give, and all they want is more. It's like being an umbrella in a storm. Everyone runs to you for shelter, and once the rain stops, they leave you behind, soaked and forgotten. That's not love, that's emotional abuse. It doesn't matter who it is, your child, your partner, your friend. If they keep handing you their chaos and calling it love, you don't have to accept it. You're not required to say yes just because it's hard to say no. When someone cries or begs or plays the family card, stop and ask yourself, why should I carry the weight of their choices? This isn't about being selfish, it's about having boundaries. Because if you don't protect your peace, no one will. And if you keep carrying burdens that aren't yours, you'll burn out. You'll disappear. And that's not a sacrifice worth making. You deserve rest, space, the right to enjoy your own life without being pulled into someone else's storm. So if you feel trapped in other people's responsibilities, break free. You don't owe anyone your peace. Let go of what never belonged to you, and take back what's always been yours. Your energy, your calm, your life. Let's talk about one of the most common traps, lending money. Unless it's a true emergency, you should think twice, or not at all. Picture it. You're enjoying a quiet morning, sipping your coffee in peace. Then your phone rings. It's someone close, a relative, a friend, maybe even your own child. You answer, expecting conversation. But what you hear instead is a request. Not for advice, not for company, for money. They say it's temporary, just until I get back on my feet. But deep down, you know better. What starts as a one-time favor slowly turns into a never-ending pit. And before you realize it, you've handed over more than cash. You've handed over your peace of mind. Lending money at this point in life is like giving someone your keys and hoping they won't change the locks. Because what you lose isn't just the money, it's your calm, your stability, your trust. And if life throws something unexpected your way, illness, repairs, sudden expenses, what happens then? You're left without a safety net because someone else drained it. This isn't about being unkind, it's about being smart. You're not being cold, you're protecting yourself. Because kindness without boundaries leads to regret. And once the money's gone, too often so is the relationship. And your peace? That never comes back as quickly as the money left. Then come the guilt trips. But you're my parent, My brother, you have to help. That's not love. That's emotional blackmail. And no, you don't have to help, especially if it means harming yourself. Your job isn't to save someone who won't save themselves. That's not compassion. That's sacrifice without reward. You've worked too hard for what you have. You deserve to enjoy the life you built, not fund someone else's irresponsibility. Because sometimes, what begins as generosity ends in resentment, and the price you pay is your own future. Let's be honest, you're not at the age to start over. You can't afford to hand out what took you a lifetime to build. So if someone only comes around when they need something, ask yourself, is this love or convenience? And if it's the latter, the answer should be no. Saying no doesn't make you cruel, it makes you clear. Protect your calm like you'd protect your home, because once it's gone, it's hard to rebuild. You owe it to yourself to live without regret, without resentment, without guilt disguised as generosity. The truth? You don't need to explain your boundaries, and you certainly don't need to fund someone else's comfort at the cost of your own. Let's talk about something that feels like an emotional trap. When someone tries to drag you into a family conflict that you had nothing to do with. By now, you should be enjoying peace. After everything you've lived through, the sleepless nights, the work, the sacrifice, you deserve calm. You deserve mornings that begin with ease and evenings free of tension. A life where you finally breathe for you. But then it happens. Someone knocks on your door, emotionally or literally, and they ask you to fix something broken. Not your broken, theirs. Maybe it's your adult child saying, "Mom, Dad, you need to talk to your brother. It's getting bad. Can't you just step in and help?" And before you even think it through, you're back in the middle. The peacemaker, the referee, the one trying to mend rifts you didn't create. Suddenly, you're in the middle of a battlefield, one you never signed up for. And then, a more painful picture. Your own children, arguing over something that once meant everything to you. Your home, the place you poured your heart into, where memories live in every corner. And now, it's just property, just a number to divide. You sit silently, watching something sacred turn into a war zone. You try to mediate, thinking maybe your love and wisdom will bring peace. But all it does is pour fuel on already burning flames. You speak from your heart, and still, they twist your words, push their agendas, and drift further apart. Until finally, you reach a heartbreaking truth. You can't fix what doesn't want to be fixed. And the cost? It's high. It's your mental energy, your joy, even your health starts to suffer. All because you couldn't say no. You give everything, trying to create unity, and lose yourself in the process. Let's get real. Life is too short to be spent refereeing someone else's emotional chaos. Especially when they don't want resolution. They want validation. And they want you to choose a side. This is the moment you need to step back and ask yourself, is my peace worth losing over this? And deep down, you already know the answer. You can't save others by drowning with them. That's not strength, that's surrender. Your job is no longer to carry every burden thrown your way. It's to protect your joy, your balance, your soul. This isn't selfishness, it's survival, and it's wisdom. If you decide not to engage, not to get involved, not to mediate, you are not failing anyone. You're finally showing up for yourself. So the next time someone expects you to fix what they've broken, to jump into family drama you didn't create, stop and breathe. Ask yourself, do I really owe them this? Because here's the truth. If you spend your days entangled in other people's issues, your own peace disappears. And peace is sacred. So please, don't trade your mental clarity for someone else's bad decisions. Don't let guilt pressure you into battles that are not yours to fight. If you're not happy, if it's robbing you of rest, of joy, of perspective, walk away. You're allowed to choose silence over chaos, stillness over conflict. Draw the line. Let others carry their own storms. You've carried enough. Because the moment you say yes to drama, you say no to yourself. And you're not obligated to play a role in someone else's emotional theater. Let them call you distant. Let them call you cold. Just don't let them call the shots. Tranquility is a treasure. And no relationship, no bloodline, no sense of duty is worth trading it away. If you don't protect your peace, who will? So stand firm. You don't owe anyone your emotional stability, not now, not ever. Put yourself first. This is your time, not to fix, but to live. There comes a point where the people around you stop asking for favors and start asking for something much heavier, for you to change. Not to grow, not to evolve, but to shrink, so you fit their expectations. It's subtle. Don't dress like that. That music's outdated. You're too old for this kind of talk. They don't realize it, but they're asking you to silence yourself, to let go of the habits, preferences, and values that shaped who you are, just to make them feel more comfortable. It's not about love, it's about control. They want you to update your identity, modernize your personality, delete the very things that bring you joy, because it doesn't match their version of you. But you've earned every part of your story, every taste, every belief, every scar and smile. That's yours. You're not a character they get to rewrite. And here's the truth. What they're asking for isn't small. It's erasure, disguised as just change a little. What they mean is, become someone you're not. Why? So they can stay comfortable. But what about you? What about your comfort? You don't owe anyone a version of yourself that's easier to digest. You've lived enough to know what brings you peace, and the older you get, the more that peace matters. So if someone says, stop being so traditional, lighten up, change already, remember this. Those routines, those preferences, those values, they're not flaws. They're your foundation. And foundations aren't meant to be torn down because someone else prefers a different view. You're not here to fit a mold. You're here to be whole, real, untouched by the pressure to conform. Because when you start changing just to keep others happy, you don't just lose your identity, you lose your peace. And that's far too valuable. So the next time someone asks you to change something that brings you comfort, confidence, or joy, ask yourself, is it worth trading my peace to make someone else feel better? If the answer is no, stand your ground. You've spent a lifetime becoming who you are. Don't undo it just because someone else doesn't understand it. Stay true to you. Before we get to the final boundary, the one that people cross without even realizing it, make sure you're subscribed. Because from now on, you deserve to live on your own terms. And that's what this channel is all about. If you're tired of being the one who always gives, always bends, always stays quiet, then subscribe. This isn't just a channel, it's a mirror, and sometimes a wake-up call. Now let's address something subtle, but incredibly damaging. It's when someone you love, maybe your child, a sibling, or a close friend, asks you, without saying the words, to put their emotions above your own. It starts quietly. They say things like, "What you're doing is making me uncomfortable," or, "Why can't you just go along with this, for me?" At first, it sounds innocent, maybe even reasonable. But what they're really saying is, your happiness comes second now, mine comes first. And just like that, your joy becomes optional. Your needs become negotiable. Your voice gets quieter, because theirs is louder. It's as if being older means your feelings matter less. That you've had your turn. That now, it's time to step back, to disappear a little, so others can step forward. But here's what no one tells you. That request, that pressure, it's not love. It's control dressed up as concern. Imagine your children saying, "Please don't do this. It's upsetting us. Can't you just act how we expect?" Suddenly, you feel trapped. You're not allowed to choose for yourself because your choices might make someone else uncomfortable. They say, "Don't make us feel bad," but no one asks how you feel. Let's be clear. That's not a relationship. That's a performance. And you're the one being told to shrink on stage so they can take the spotlight. It's a slow betrayal, and it often comes wrapped in words like love, respect, or family. But if loving you means silencing who you are, that's not love. Because every time you bend to keep someone else emotionally steady, you chip away at your own center. You turn down the volume on your own spirit so they can sleep soundly. But what about you? What about your right to be fulfilled, to be whole? Because the moment you're asked to keep someone else comfortable at the cost of your own well-being, you've entered emotional servitude. And here's the danger. When you keep saying yes to their needs and no to your own, eventually, you vanish. You fade from your own story. You become a supporting character in someone else's life, and you forget you were ever meant to lead in your own. Don't let that happen, because the most damaging kind of silence is the one you force upon yourself to protect someone else's comfort. It's when you tell yourself, "It's fine. It's just for now." They mean well. But deep down, you feel it. Something's not right. You weren't born to live quietly in someone else's shadow. You weren't built to exist as a placeholder for other people's preferences. And when they say, "You'll hurt me if you don't do this," what they're really doing is weaponizing your kindness. But your empathy should never be used against you. Every time you sacrifice your truth for their peace, you hand over a piece of yourself. And the more you give, the less of you remains. Until one day, you look in the mirror and wonder, how did I become invisible in my own life? Don't let that be your story. This isn't selfishness. It's self-preservation. It's self-respect. It's love, the kind that starts with you. Because if you don't honor your own needs, who will? It's time to stop letting guilt govern your decisions. Time to stop putting your joy on hold so someone else can feel okay in the short term. If you don't take care of yourself, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, no one will do it for you. And yes, it's hard. Saying no to people you care about always is. But sometimes, the most loving thing you can do is stand firm and say, "This doesn't work for me." So if someone asks you to keep them emotionally comfortable while you crumble inside, stop and ask, why is their happiness always more important than mine? If the answer makes your chest tighten, it's time to stop, to breathe, to choose yourself. Because you only get one chance at this life, and you weren't meant to live it carrying the weight of everyone else's emotions. Not anymore. So draw the line. Reclaim your place in your own life. Stop living in fear of disappointing people who have no problem disappointing you. And if someone ever asks you to sacrifice your joy, your identity, your peace to make them feel better, say no. With love, with clarity, and without apology. Because the only approval you really need is your own.